I need some traction. You need some traction.
I'm one of your hosts, Vasil, and I cannot be more excited to introduce our presenter today. She will be talking about how you can elevate your marketing for outsized results. She's a recognized industry leader, one of the first content marketers and head of marketers at Marketo, who previously took a company to IPO, including several other companies, Anaplan, Apttus, and most recently, she is leading a marketing, B2B marketing team at ActiveCampaign.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate joining the call today. So welcome everybody. We are today going to talk about elevating your marketing results. We often go to these events where we want to bring all these ideas back, but we fail to implement them, or they fail to get the same results as maybe some of the other other different results than the people that presented their great success. And I wanted to dig into maybe why some of that's happening and how to maybe get more from the things that you're going to action that you take through this day. So, marketing, and I just want to just say good job to everybody who's on this call. Marketing is a hard discipline. I always say it's the front of the ship. It does this beautiful thing and takes all of the magical things that are happening inside of a company, the value of every employee, whether it's 10, 1,000, 10,000, or 100,000 employees, and shares the best of it outside. But I think the perception in the organization is it's easy. You get an idea for marketing, the values in the idea, and then you just have instant success. I always think about a time when a CEO said to me, this was very early in my career, we were trying to get an email off, but we were having a technical challenge. We wanted to respect all of the opt-outs and things, which were going to be challenged if we sent this email. And he walked up to me and said, "Hey, Maria, I send 100 emails a day. Why can't you get out one?" And I think that's the reality we live in marketing, is that it seems, when it's done well, it seems easy. And I think what it really looks like is more like this. There's all these ideas. There's lots of different ways to get to it. And I purposely have kind of the arrows pointing to success going different ways, because there is not one path to success. We're going to talk about that here, but it's finding the way that's right for your company. This is just a nod to how hard it is. Marketing, we just said, it's the part that brings everything your company does outside. It is essentially what sells your organization. But the CMO role or any of the marketing roles often don't feel as valued, right? We see a short tenure. And I think we're going to talk about some of the reasons there's that disconnect. And while I am speaking to this as a CMO, we're going to talk about individual contributors, managers through the org, kind of all of the levels of marketing and what we can do to really try to make this slide go away. I have not really introduced myself. Vasil did a very good job, but I am the CMO at a company called ActiveCampaign, and have been in sales or MarTech for well over a decade. So all B2B through my entire career, and mostly on the technology side. And where I specialize is for SaaS companies, helping them have that hyper growth. So taking that product, those initial ideas, through its fastest growth period, often to or just past an IPO. I was with Marketo from about 30 employees up to that IPO, and owned kind of all the demand, Marketo's own use of Marketo content. At Apttus, about 100 employees to 1,500 employees, and an Anaplan, again, through that IPO. And looking at the things that have had success over time, and some of these I think we'll see come off as best practicey. I want to dig into them and talk about why some of those work. This is so cool. I'm seeing through all the people saying hello, I'm seeing so many people from throughout the world, especially Brazil. We have at ActiveCampaign so many amazing Brazilian customers. So excited to see all of the different countries represented. And this just works out perfect for my next slide. ActiveCampaign is in 170 different countries. And I put this slide in not to brag about our company, but to give you a sense of the next two slides do this as well, what our situation is as a marketing team, so that you can figure out how this applies. So 170 different countries, that's more countries than McDonald's has, right, that they're in. We have over 100,000 customers. It's a smaller ARR, so maybe different than some of the enterprise marketing you guys are doing. Lots of partners, and I'll come back to some of these stats and how this connects to our marketing in a minute, but just to give you a sense of size. I would also love to introduce you to the pretty amazing ActiveCampaign marketing team who you see in this photo. They have a hard job. It is, we're trying to create a category. So what we sell is a way to talk to your customers that surpasses some of the challenges we see in email marketing, marketing automation, CRM. It takes a view across those and deploys your campaigns so that you can consider across the entire customer lifecycle. But what that means is we sell to lots of different industries. We only have the largest industry we have only represents 15% of our base. We have so many different use cases. It's a platform. Our marketing, and this is one of the hardest parts, for like the closest competitor we have, when they were at our size and we're even growing a little faster than them, we're spending 30% less in our marketing and still having that same success. And it's because of advocacy. We're putting those dollars into the customer, and you're going to see me hit on how marketing has to hit that customer in a second. And then, like many of you, it is not just one buyer. We sell to marketers, we sell to sales teams, we sell to support teams, we sell to entrepreneurs that are responsible for all of that. And then we often forget to take credit for the work that we have to do. You know, in our case, we have agencies and affiliates that we're working with and that marketing has to talk to, as well as developers who are building on our platform. And so it's in each of these areas that we have to bring marketing skill. And what I think then ends up being challenged is we have so much to do. How do we do anything well? And I think that's really what impacts that outsized success. So, and when I said we're going to get a little bit into kind of best practice, I know every company says, oh, our vision, our values, but I really believe it's up to marketing to look at those and build their plan to those vision and values. And you'll see why as we go through this, why this then will extend that career of all of us within the organization. I'm going to share with you how we look at these, which is through what we call a brand blueprint. We worked with an agency to help us with this, and we used the same agency actually at my last company, Anaplan, where we looked at, the whole leadership team comes together, works on vision, values, and also some other areas. Here's ours. When I think about marketing, and actually I want to take a pause here because these are active campaigns. This is what we share internally, and you'll see that cultivating inclusion and diversity are one of our values. Ones I think related to that is making the customer a hero, starting with trust, pursuing growth with gratitude. And I want to just take 1 second to talk about, and maybe more than a second, what's happening right now in Black Lives Matter and our role in this, or at least for ActiveCampaign as it ties to our values. This is a hard situation for companies to figure out how to respond. And so the first thing I do when there's something hard, and this could be because of how our company should come out around Black Lives Matter, it could be when there's a disagreement about what marketing campaign, it doesn't matter what it is. Going to those values to give you some of those answers is one of the best ways to align to your organization. And so when we saw the situation, we went to our values, and it was clear to us, based on a value of inclusion and diversity, that we had to take a stand. I use these values, though, in lots of other ways. When I look at iterate everything always, that says to me that we don't have to have everything perfect, and maybe trying a couple of things as opposed to just taking one approach is the best way. So it really informs our marketing. Now, your company's values may be very different, so your programs may be very different than ours, but I do think that you have to start here when building your marketing plan. I also think most of our companies have goals created. For some of us, it is just a revenue goal. You may know, hey, we have to hit this much in sales and we want to sell this much of product. For some of us, we have more formal structures. Here's 2 examples of what those structures may look like. Here's sales forces that many of us have adopted, the B2 Mom, which takes that vision and values, but pairs it to some business goals and some measures. The other one I'm showing here is, this is vision, strategy, execution, and often it's also metrics and referred to, I think Citrix created this as VSEM. But this is the second place I really start with my marketing plan. And again, I'll tie some of this together as why. But if the marketing that you're doing is not aligned here, or you can't back up why you're doing the things you're doing to those corporate goals, no matter where you are in the organization, it's going to be harder to have that success. And that's where you get into those situations where there's not that appreciation for marketing. And so maybe you're saying, yeah, this is great. I have both of these. My company gives them to me. Or maybe, again, it may just be a revenue target that you have to get to. I think you have to then tie this to your personal values. And by doing this, you're going to find the places that you're going to have passion in your marketing. And especially if you're leading a marketing team, how you're going to get the team to have passion. My first day at ActiveCampaign, I shared this slide, and it's a slide that I had used at my previous company. These are the things that I think are important as part of a marketing team. Feel free to copy them if they're relevant to you. But being outcomes based, it doesn't just say, hey, we care about metrics, but we care about the outcomes that we're trying to drive towards. And by saying that, what I believe I'm saying is I'm going to work to get to those V2 mom items, even if I don't necessarily agree or love all of them. I'm going to focus on getting the company's outcomes. Culture. And when I talk about culture, and if you're a leader here, I would suggest you take the same approach. I cannot be responsible for all of the culture of my team, but I ask all the marketers to be active in that culture, to share their best practice. When I say award-winning, that's not less out of ego, but about putting your content out there, sharing it, making sure that you're giving back the best practices and that you're striving to create best practices, not just follow them. And I have celebrated by sales here, but you're going to see in a second that I really mean much more than sales. And I tried this as well as a focus and on customer marketing, really trying to make that the center of it. And what you start seeing is how my plan comes together. So first, I'm looking at the company's vision. I'm looking at those values. I've decided what's important to me. And then I can really start building the plan. And I think the first thing that all of us have to do, and as you're listening to the things later today, the other sessions, or maybe any of the way that you are trying to anything that you're excited to roll out, really thinking about what it is that you want to be known for. What great marketing are you going to do? And it cannot be in every channel, or it cannot be every way. Like, I just can't believe that every marketing team can be amazing at webinars and amazing at events and amazing at emails, and that they have the perfect message. It just becomes too much. In project management, they use this image. It's super common if you were a chief project officer, you're doing some certification. This is a chart that kind of highlights how you get to quality. So you only have so much time, you only have so much money, and you almost have enough a certain amount of like human resources, like people that can work on a project. And the more you try to spread that out, the less of each that you have. And I think marketing today is really, in this case, we're like, you have to have 3 blog posts a week and 27 social posts, and you have to have 2 webinars, and you have to have 7 emails, and your nurturing has to be perfect, you have to do scoring. And what we do is we do what I call peanut buttering. We do all of it okay. But what I've really noticed in not only my companies, but the companies that have had those outsized results is they choose a couple of them. We'll see that here. I'm going to start with Zoom. Most of us probably before a year or two ago, probably even still today, is not joining a Zoom best practice webinar. We've likely haven't gone and stood in a Zoom trade show booth. But I bet you, if you're in the US, and maybe this doesn't apply as broadly internationally, but that you haven't seen a Zoom, that you have seen a Zoom billboard, because they have really concentrated their effort here. They've done similar with their message here. They're saying video conferencing that doesn't suck, but almost all of their content is about celebrating how they make it a better experience. It's customer focused. And they've given up doing other things to have that. The image above that is the kind of that trailhead mascot for Salesforce. I see these characters in my dreams. They are so consistent with this message, and it's really about bringing people on a path, educating them kind of to this camp theme. The bottom left image is from a company called Insight, which, again, if you're international, you may not know, it is a fast-growing customer success platform. And they they are all about education. One of their core values is, I can't remember the word, but it means childlike approach to learning. And so they've put so much into this user conference to make sure that they are doing that education. And then the image above that, you see Salesforce again, but what I'm highlighting is a company I was at, Apttus. We were on the Salesforce platform, and you did not see our name if it wasn't close to Salesforce, because we were really trying to focus that energy and that return. And so when you look at your marketing, I would make a list literally of all of the different programs and channels that you have, and I would say, which one of these are we going to give its unfair share? The other thing, and just a note on that, I think I'm going to stop there. You just choose one and say, we're going to do it better than anybody else. Task the team or yourself with it, and really try to get that outsized impact. You will notice with many brands that is the approach, but we're fooled with all these best practices and believing we have to do everything. The other thing I'd highlight is that it is circular. Your customer success brings back that marketing success. And so, so you need to really be thinking about that full funnel, which includes customer experience, the full customer life cycle. And you can see so many articles that say, hey, marketing is now responsible for the life cycle. But I would really think about, for each person on the call, can you see when you send an email, does it not go if there's a current support ticket? Like, I become infuriated in my personal life if, like, let's say I ordered a shirt, I want to return it, I'm not getting an email back, but then instead of getting the support email I'm looking for, I get a marketing email. And maybe even I'll get even madder if that marketing email says, hey, here we do such great customer service, where I'm like, no, you don't. All I want is this. Making sure that your marketing can see across those things to not have, that it is considering the whole customer. And so just 3 points here that are all interconnected. First, the image that you see in the upper left, I know it's a little small. This is how we think about customer life cycle as well as our marketing. It is acquisition. It's nurturing, it is helping those customers close, but then it is helping them support and grow. And then that feeds right back into that advocacy. This next point is something that is hard to change in an organization, whether you have one employee or 10 or 10,000. The marketing team does is not enough. I've worked in these fast growth organizations, right? Let's imagine that you have 500 employees, but you could do this, you can think of this any number. And let's say 10% are marketers. So in that case, 50, but let's imagine it could be if it's a 50 company and 5 are marketers, whatever, but let's say 50 marketers. How much if you have to take over a whole industry or create a whole category, how much can 50 marketers really do? And I think about that a lot. How do you actually get that big voice? And the way that you do this is you take that customer success and you make sure it's amplified. And so you make sure your employees, so I just said in this example, 50 marketers, but 500, but let's say, no matter what the company size, let's say all of the employees are amplifying. You can see if you're doing this well. Go look at your CEO's or your company's last LinkedIn post. If there's not as many likes as the number of employees in your company, you have work to do in this area, right? It's something, and we haven't, I can't say that we're there either, but it gives you a sense of like where to maybe put some effort. I then think about all of our customers. So in my case, we sell to more SMB customers, and so we have lots of them. We have 100,000 different customers. Imagine if I could get those 100,000 customers sharing the message. It makes that 50 marketers a small piece. It makes it the enabler of that message. And when we talk about outside results, and so for every one of your campaigns, I mean, just take your list of what you want to do, cut it in half, and say, I only have to do half of this. I just have to get double as many people to share. And I promise you, if you get double as many people to share, that more than double, 3 times, 10 times, 100 times will share, because by focusing on who's going to share it, what they're going to like to share, if it's going to resonate, you're going to get that return. And then the final note here is just connecting it across channels. I see so many things where somebody sends an email and then I can't go and see the same thing on their website, or I think, oh, let me text them. or let me go into their community, and they don't have some of those pieces. There's not a consistency in message, or they're putting out different messages in different channels, and that's just confusing. It does the opposite of Outsized. It makes it very confusing. This is a point that I'm sure that you agree with, right? If you're making good recommendations based on historical, your customers are going to be happy and likely buy more. So it keeps feeding itself, that focus on the customer. And then, I have done presentations like this a long time, but I haven't focused as much on the customer until this point really hit me. 3, 5, 10 years ago, we can sit in the middle. We didn't want to be the worst. We all know in our industries who the worst. And maybe there was 1 or 2 that was the best, but we were okay sitting in the middle. But I have started to watch, and maybe you do this too, how I buy things. I go and I do a search on Amazon, and I just look at the people. The whole way I purchase is who has the highest, closest to 5 stars. I go to Uber Eats or another food purchasing service, Grubhub. It may be different where you're located, and I sort by the number of stars. And so what this means is it's no longer okay to be a 3.5 star, or even a 4.5 star. If you're not in that top 1 or 2, it almost makes you irrelevant. And that's something we really have to be aware of. I'm going really long, so I'm going to try to talk, and I started a few minutes late, so I'm going to try to talk really quick here. This is paid off for us. So if you're worrying about hey, putting more into our customers and using that in their marketing, I can say it's working at least one place. And then the final notes I have in here, and again, I think I only have a few minutes, so I'm going to go pretty quickly, is you could do all of this and be doing this awesome, but you really need to have internal support, and it's not just with that sales side, it's across the board. A story that I tell all the time is I was watching a presentation from a marketer that I adored, and they said, well, our job's really not to be the CMO. So many people come with so many ideas. We really need to be the CMO so that we can make sure that we can concentrate on these few ideas. And it sounds like something that I would believe in, but if you're not bringing the heart of the company with you in your marketing, you are not going to have that long-term success. And so how do I handle that? How do I know that I can't do everything, but people are coming to me with lots of different ideas? When somebody comes with an idea, I say, it doesn't matter what the idea is. I say, tell me why you think that's what we should do. And let them get to the business purpose. They said, well, I think it's important we grow, or I think we have to get to more customers, or I think we have to solve this problem. And then go look and see if you agree. And if you do say, yes, I agree, we need to get to more customers, but this is how we're going to achieve your goal. So still get them what they're looking for, but don't feel compelled to run out every single idea, because again, that's that path to peanut buttering. I also think you can't just run, I think the most dangerous word in marketing is playbooks. You want to bring your experience, not your playbook, because your playbook may have worked somewhere else, but that may not be what your CEO is looking for. And our job is to align to that value and vision, as well as those strategies I talked about in the beginning. And this is where we get in trouble. We just know inside what's going to work, but our CEO doesn't see it, but we're going to prove them wrong. That nobody wins that way. You really have to hear them and try to bring them with you. And then finally, and this is like one of my favorite things, this is about 1.5 years after I left Apttus, and the head of sales there was still emailing me every time he won a deal at his new company with the customer name. And so when you think about that sales and marketing alignment, it shouldn't be the hardest part in the organization, because you guys are trying to go to the same place, but it should be something that happens and is very important. You can't market your own marketing internal, and I don't care if you're a 10-person company or a 10,000-person company. I'll just talk about one of these, but in the upper left, I loved this idea. This was not my idea. A gentleman by the name of Mike Berger. He was spending so much time working on things that people couldn't see in our marketing: the nurturing, the scoring, the overall flow. And I know this is less relevant with many of us working from home, but he put it up on the wall. He made people understand the work that marketing was doing, and solicited questions and feedback. The bottom example here is just Salesforce sending out games and quizzes internally to help garner that support of the marketing efforts that are happening. And so you can see, if you build a plan, if you take those ideas, not feeling like you have to do as much, aligning to the organization, not peanut buttering, and then getting that alignment, like that's really, to me, the magic recipe to get that outsized return.
So really appreciate sharing all the insights. And I want to take 2 questions. What would be the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, through my LinkedIn is great. You can also find me in my LinkedIn. I'm Maria Pergolino, and I'm fortunate. I'm the only Maria Pergolino in the world, so I will be the one you find. It is spelled like it sounds. And then in any of the other social channels, you can normally find me at Inbound Marketer. But just, I will see you guys in LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and more.
Perfect. So let's take a question from Paul. I think it's a really good one. So Paul is asking, how do you manage up to convince others that it makes sense to only focus on a few key marketing areas? I found C-suite always have with a limited marketing experience suddenly think they're experts based upon reading an article or case study, resulting in a lot of wheel spinning and wasting time.
All right, I am with you guys have you guys all gotten the email that says, like, let's say your CEO or somebody gets an email that says, like, we've been on your website and see it needs improvements, sign up for this list or sign up for these SEO services, and they've never even been to your website. It's a generic email, but you get this email from somebody else in the company saying, see, look, we're not doing this well, and it's so frustrating. I think what you have to do is, first, you have to take this pause and hear people. You have to, I make a list of questions the beginning of quarter, or when I start an organization. I say, tell me what you think the marketing needs. Tell me where you think we can do better. Tell me what you think is missing. And then I build my plan considering some of that, but I go back to those notes and I say, hey, I heard this, this, and this from you, and we're gonna do this and this to help you achieve what you said. And so it's not that I feel the obligation to do everything, but I'll say, hey, you said this needs to get better, so we're not going to do these 3 other things. The other thing, sometimes I get these pressure to do events, and this has changed since COVID, but prior to that, all these events. So we'd say, hey, we're going to do these 10 events this year. And then somebody would email, oh my God, we have to do this 11th, or oh my goodness, we have to do this 12th. And so what I started to do is making a list of, here's the ones we want to do, and here's all the ones, and these is often multiple like pages long that we think could be good, but we're not doing. And I'll send it out and say, everybody good with this list? Because we have to make trade-offs. It's not that we can just keep adding more in. And I try to hear people with what those trades are going to be. And often we end up with the exact same list that marketing recommended, but now we have the permission to say, hey, we can't do these, but we did hear you.
Great, it makes sense. And the second question is that I would like to take is from, let's see here. Let's do one from Gustavo. When your marketing team is focused on awareness and acquisition, how can we start to put effort on customer marketing?
Yeah, when I joined Apttus, I was known for my demand gen work and my acquisition work at what you call growth marketing at Marketo. And then I went over to Apttus, and the first role I hired was somebody in customer marketing, and everybody was so surprised. But you can't do great demand if you don't have that proof behind it. It's really hard to acquire. So if it's just you and the marketing team, you have to carve time aside for it. And this is a place where marketing is so used to having people come and give us feedback, but this is a great way to go to the organization. And if you, whether it's one person or a team in support and success in your other leaders, and say, where are your stories? Tell me about these customers. Who can I use? Don't feel the pressure all on your own. If you don't have a customer marketing team, challenge the rest of the organization to bring these to you. Tell people we can't do great marketing without these. And then what you'll see happening is people are going to go, oh my goodness, I don't have the time to get them everything they need. And that's how you start getting the resources to then build that team, because they go, oh, well, they clearly need it and I don't have the time to keep doing it. Let's get them that resource. So don't try to go it alone. I am always thinking about how to push back on other orgs. And when I talk to my boss, when I talk to the head of sales, I'm giving them to-do lists so that they're like, oh man, I can't show up to this meeting without having this stuff. They're not giving me to-do lists.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Maria, for joining us.
I need some traction.